Okay, so picture this. It's September 19th, 1972, Springfield, New Jersey. A local sees a neighbor's puppy trotting out of the woods, and it drops something on the lawn. At first, the police think it's just, a prank, a mannequin arm.
Right.
But then they get closer, and they see the decomposition. It wasn't plastic. It was the forearm of a 16-year-old girl named Jeannette DePalma.
And that one, just visceral discovery, kicks off one of the most mythologized cold cases in New Jersey history. We're digging into the original investigative reports, the forensic analysis, and this really crucial 2024 case file review from Weird NJ.
Yeah, our whole mission here is to peel back, 5 decades of satanic panic folklore to see what's actually there.
The disturbing reality of it.
And that folklore, it started almost immediately. The rest of her remains were found on a cliff that locals called the Devil's Teeth.
With a name like that.
Exactly. It did half the work for them. The media, the local church leaders, they went into overdrive. They claimed her body was found inside this coffin-shaped ring of logs with makeshift crosses everywhere. It sounds like something out of a horror film.
Because perfect storm for that era. 1972. People were just primed to see the devil in the details. But then, Weird NJ finally gets a look at the actual crime scene photos in September 2024.
And the whole story just collapses.
Completely.
I saw their breakdown of it. There were no crosses, no little stone halos or occult symbols, nothing.
The satanic elements were, for all intents and purposes, a community hallucination. The town was so terrified of some local witches' coven that they literally invented the evidence to fit the fear.
Which means the investigation was chasing a ghost story for 50 years.
And once you take the witchcraft angle out, you have to look at the actual, the biology. And the autopsy it's so frustratingly vague.
Vague is one word for it. The medical examiner lands on strangulation by exclusion.
Which basically just means they couldn't find anything else.
Right. No broken bones, no bullet holes, no knife wounds on what was left, so they just assumed strangulation. But the toxicology report is where it gets really strange.
The lead levels.
Off the charts. Way, way higher than a kid living in a normal industrial area should have.
And that's the key anomaly here. See, lead builds up over time. Finding that much in a teenager suggests she was being chronically exposed to something.
So not just contamination from the soil where she was found?
No, this was happening long before she died. It suggests she was either being slowly poisoned or living in some incredibly toxic environment. It complicates everything.
So we have a body at the Devil's Teeth, this bizarre lead toxicity, and a debunked satanic theory. And while the town was out hunting for witches,
there was a very, very real monster in the area, Richard Cottingham.
The Torso Killer. In 2021, from prison, he actually confessed to murdering Jeannette.
If you look at it, the geography, his timeline, he was active right there, right then. He targeted teenage girls. And his signature, his awful signature, was dismemberment.
Which brings us right back to the puppy finding her arm.
It fits Cottingham's pattern perfectly. It does not fit the ritual sacrifice theory at all.
It's just infuriating that these dots weren't connected sooner. But the investigation was completely hamstrung by the lost files.
Yes. The police claimed for years that Hurricane Floyd destroyed all the records in 1999. It was the perfect excuse to just not reopen the case.
Except that wasn't true. A lawsuit eventually proved that the key files, including FBI reports, were fine. They were there the whole time.
It wasn't a flood. It was just institutional failure. They seem to have preferred keeping the family in the dark over admitting they completely botched the investigation from day one.
That bureaucracy shielded the truth just as much as the folklore did.
And it shows you something powerful about psychology, doesn't it? The people of Springfield found it so much easier to blame some supernatural occult force than to accept the reality.
The reality that a human predator was hunting in their town.
Yeah. It's easier to be scared of a witch than a guy named Richard who lives down the street,
One is a story. The other could be your neighbor.
Precisely. And that makes you wonder, right? It makes you look back at all these other famous cold cases and ask, how many of the facts we all know are really just ghost stories we tell ourselves so we don't have to face the truth about human evil?